Well, when you came to Philly, I think it was the second year after you guys had a really great run in the playoffs there. And, what was that season like? I know Chief wanted me to bring up something, but I'll let you answer that first.
Well, we played the year before. There's a funny story with Chief. The year before we played the Leafs in, I think, 98, 99 maybe?
Yes. Yeah.
And they beat us in 6 games, but Roger Nilsson was the coach that year. This before the cancer had come back or before he gotten really sick. And Roger came to me before the series. Now, I was fired up because I was playing Toronto. I grew up in Brantford, just down the road. This is a big deal.
You and some other player.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Wayne.
I think we're combined for the most points in NHL history from 2 guys from the same hometown.
I believe it.
So we're playing the Leafs, and I'm fired up for it. And we get my job. Roger calls me in the room. He goes, "Hey," and Roger's very religious man. He's just a real nice guy. He says, "Hey Jonesy, if you ever get any dirt on the other players, this is the time to use it. You can it's like giving me the green light to verbally abuse these guys, right?" He's like, "You're going to be out there against the Thomas line. Sundin and Thomas were lighting it up." And Thomas was always one of my favorite players. I grew up being a Leaf fan before I was ever drafted to the NHL. He was playing, and I'd be watching him thinking, "Man, this guy's amazing." All of a sudden, I'm being asked, to go up against a guy that I really respected and loved the way he played. So I kept leaning on him, saying stuff in his ear. The whole series. It was a very low-scoring series. I think they only scored 9 goals and beat us in a 6-game series, if I'm not mistaken. It was that tight checking of a series. So at the end of the series, we're shaking hands, and I'm like, "Hey, good, whatever, good luck." And here comes Stevie. He grabs my hand, he holds it really tight. He says, "I swear on my kids' heads, I'm gonna, effing kill you next year."
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, good luck. Good luck to you." It's someone I really appreciated the way he played. He's a good, honest, hard player. Anyway, the next year comes around in training camp. This is a funny Chief story there too. In training camp, I'm injured. I hurt my knee worse, and I had to have a surgery, and I'm out for the first 25 games. So when the first game back is against the Leafs, right? Not a very smart move on my part, right? So Chief remembers the story. We've been kind of laughing. Well, so he's calling me during the day. He's like, "Hey, that Thomas is going to kick your ass tonight." Hang up the phone, right? So I get to the rink. That's all I'm thinking about.
Oh, of course.
I know you have to know because that was your job. But I get to the rink, and all I'm thinking about, how's this going to play out, right? So sure enough, starting lineup, Lindros, Leclerc, Jones, Thomas, Sundin, and whoever was on the other line, maybe Derek King or something. I don't even know. So I'm a left-hand shot on the right side, so I'm on the other side. Thomas is the same, so we're not lined up against each other. We're both across looking at each other, and I'm not really looking at him, but he's looking at me. So I could just knew. So the puck drops, and here he comes, and we have this fight, and it was nothing. He's a tough guy too, but I managed to get a good grip on him and threw a couple punches, and it looked like I was reading the newspaper. I pretended that I was bored fighting him, right? So it ends, and I go by the Leaf bench right after, and I'm like, "Who's next, boy?" Then Ty Domi jumps up, his helmet almost flew off his head.
Oh, sure, right?
"I am," you got to earn that, Ty, whatever. So I headed over to the penalty box. I get out, and then from that point on, every time we play the Leafs, Ty would be like, Are we going? I go, "Yep, tonight's the night." And then I go, "Nah,
Not tonight.
not tonight. But Ruby will fight you." So
Get them all steamed
That's
up.
great.
That is priceless.
He was telling me, I'll let you tell it if you want, but he was telling me about when you guys were playing Jersey in the playoffs, and you two are coming off the ice in the old building, Continental Airlines. And you two are coming off the ice in the Zamboni, and you're like, "These coaches, I don't think they know what's going on. I'm going to go talk to them." And then I'll let you take it from there.
Is this when Chief scored?
When Rammer.
Oh, yeah, when Chief scored the goal,
Well,
right?
yeah, but he said you went in there and said, "This
Oh,
is
yeah, that happened, yeah. And I'll give Rammer credit. He was great at just letting me, go in. So coaches always come in usually, some teams, 7 minutes before the intermission ends, right? And they have a message they want to show the guys. Sometimes they bring out the chalkboard thing, whatever, the dry erase board drops of a few things that the other team's doing, adjustments, whatever. And they do that even before the game, right? So Rammer had his time. He'd come in, and every time he'd leave, I go, "All right, boys, here's what he meant to say." And I'd get up with the board and I'd draw. Like it was pretty funny. And I was intense. I was into it too, right? So they would laugh about that, and I'd push him out of the way. I'd go in. Sometimes Clarkie'd be in the coach's office in between periods, and I'd be, drawing. We got to do this, and Rammer would he took it. Like it's funny looking back on it. He was probably shaking his head and laughing about it.
Yeah, right.
I really felt like I was contributing to us having success. So we're playing game 4 in Newark, or Meadowlands at that time maybe, and it's we're up 2-1 in the series. And that's the third round conference finals. So we just won the previous game in New Jersey. We're going again, and they had an unbelievably good team. And Chiefs out there. We're up 2-1 late in the game, and with 3 minutes left, I think. And Dan McGillis takes a shot from the point, and Berube tipped it in and scores. And I'm sitting beside Rick Tocchet, right? And I go, Tocchet's celebrating. I go, what's going on here? And Tocchet's why I'm wondering why I'm not really celebrating. I go, how the hell did Berube get on the ice? Right? And I turn around at Rammer, I'm yelling at him and everything. Oh, yeah. So the Chief just loved it. Yeah. So we get in the locker room after the game, and Chief's happy. It's a tip-in goal. And now we're up 3-1 in the series. But I'm sitting there, and it's quiet for a minute. It's just I go, hey, Gilly, because Dan McGillis had shot the puck. I go, hey, Gilly, nice goal, pal. Nice goal, right? Because the guy, there's always a little bit of a wonder if a guy really tipped the puck. Right? Chief's looking over at me. It was fun.
Oh, beautiful.
We had good times, man.
Oh, that's funny.
The best.
That's so awesome, man. Yeah, he told me that. He told me
well,
that.
The other time in training, we were in this training camp, and I ended up hurting my knee for 25 games. We had a bike ride or a run in Peterborough, Ontario, for Roger Nilsson.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I had the knee issues when I left Colorado. I would ride a stationary bike, right? So I thought, I'll be fine. I can ride this bike. It's 25 miles up huge hills. Well, on the stationary bike, I was never up on the seat, going. So part of my knee injury was that, unbeknownst to me at this point, that I couldn't get up. I couldn't stand and really push to get up a hill. So I did that 25-mile bike ride sitting down. Up hills,
man.
okay? So, and I'm really not great at knowing what gears were. I never really did much on the bike. So I tell Chief, I go, hey, we'll ride together. Everyone's leaving 45 seconds apart individually. He goes, yeah, no problem. So I start pedaling on this bike, and I swear not a minute and a half later, here he comes right by me. He's gone. I go, hey, Chief. Screw you. And he's gone. He's up there. I never saw him again. Neil Little was the backup back then, even and mostly in the minors at this point. And Litz was the last guy to leave. Well, he goes by me, right? And there's a van driving around, just like a Jeep with water and all this stuff. And if there's an emergency, well, I always joked around so much that nobody ever really took me serious. So I'm waving at him going, hey, everyone's gone. I literally, no one's in sight. I'm going up these hills. He never stopped to get me, so I just kept riding, okay? I finished the 25-mile thing. My knee was ruined for 2 months. Sure, yeah. Stuff was popping everywhere, right? And between my ass was so sore when I got out. I couldn't even walk, right? So I'm 2.5 hours behind everybody. 2.5 hours behind.
Wow.
And no one knows. No one's even asking about me, right? So I show up at Roger Nielsen's place. They're all having a barbecue, celebrating. Guys are in the pool. I walk right to the hot tub. I sit in that hot tub, and I'm like, oh, my God. I honestly, I don't know what's happened, right? So the reporters and that around, they go, hey, how'd the right go? It was great. I came third. That's what I told him. So the next day in the paper, it said I was third in the test. 2.5 hours behind everybody.
And no one
missed
knew.
2 months. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And the guy I was waving at thought I was kidding. I wanted the Jeep to pick me up. But I was in trouble, man.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll leave Jonesy alone. You just screw around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Probably still feeling that.
That was the end of that. That was the end of that for training camps for me. That was it.
Wow.
That run you were talking about, man, you guys are up 3-1.
Yeah.
In that series.
It's the toughest thing. That's the toughest memory I have. It's the greatest memories I have as far as a team and teammates.
Yeah.
Think back to the guys on that team, Bundy, Dan McGillis, who I mentioned, Luke Richardson, and a lot of the guys went on to be, coaches.
Yep.
Luke finally, great to see him get to Chicago. He's such a wonderful human being. And
He is.
Chief was there. Craig Berube went on. Rick Tocchet was on that team. Recchi went on. He's coached, and now I don't know if it's management might be his next thing. We had a lot of great hockey players on that team. Johnny Leclerc, and of course Lindros missed most of it. Came back late, but there was a great group of players. Keith Primo really coming into his own that season as well, and I think we were maybe even a lot better than we thought we were when I look back on it.
If you look at that team, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it was a hell of a Clarkie put together a great team
and
that year,
I
for
honestly,
sure.
I mean, I was with the Phantoms then, and I'm like, we're gonna win. I mean, we're gonna win the cup.
Yeah,
here,
it
and
felt
you're up
like it.
you know what I mean? Like
it was amazing, and then to have it, to be up 3-1. Now, I'm the worst guy for being up 3-1. It happened to me. It happened to me 4 times in my career.
Wow.
The first time I was an extra guy in Washington after I started the minors, I was called up. And I swear it's karma because, when you're an extra guy, I was like 8th on the depth chart, and we were just getting skated every day, right? There was the shuttle bus would have had to crash if we were going to get in the lineup. Like literally there had to be 10 guys out, right?
Yeah.
So Barry Trotz a skate, and I just remember thinking to myself, man, I hope this thing, and the Caps were good that year. They're up on the Penguins 3-1. This one in 91, 92. And I'm thinking we're going to be here a long time. Game 4, the Caps win in Pittsburgh 8-4. Dino Cicerelli scores 4 goals.
Wow.
And they're up 3-1 on Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Ron Francis, all these guys, right? The Penguins come back. Mario designs how the team's going to play. They're going to defend first. He draws it up. Scotty Bowman's coaching, of course. He obviously gets a lot of credit, even if Mario, just the fact Mario bought into whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And they come back and beat the Caps 4-3, and I was kind of like, this isn't too bad because I knew I wasn't going to play.
Right.
If they won the cup, it was like, I'm in the organization, but just selfish, just stupid.
Right.
That's just the way it was. So human nature. So then I believe that haunted me the rest of my career because then we got up 3-1 on the Penguins again, actually, and lost that series in 7, of course. And then I went to Colorado, and we were up 3-1 on Edmonton with Patrick Waugh in net. They had won the cup in 96. This would be 98. And we blew that series. Edmonton beat us. And then here we go again. And I remember I absolutely remember being up 3-1, driving back from Newark to Philly thinking, no.
Yeah.
I wished it was 3-2, but not from 3-1, just going 2-2, 3-2.
Yeah,
right.
I was just in the back of my mind because I'd seen it before.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here we go again. And, we blew game 5 at home. All 3 times that I was on the ice were at home. Game 7s at home and lost all 3 of them to blow 3-1 leads in the last one of my career. So I always blame it on myself for the bad karma I delivered back as an extra guy. So if you're arriving in the NHL right now, don't do that.
Yeah, right.
Skate all the way to the end.
Riley had a funny question about the overtime game in Pitt. Like, that was wild. Like, he had 30 minutes of ice.
Yeah, 30 minutes of ice that game?
At 37 minutes and 50 seconds, I had no shots on goal. I had no missed shots. I had no hits. I had no giveaways.
There you go.
The game sheet sits at my house. It's one of my proudest moments.
Oh, my God.
And I was still in the NHL. That's the best part. And I was on for the winning goal by Primo. I was a +1.
Oh, no way. Wow.
The guys still laugh about it whenever we see the guys on that. That was that year. That was part of that run.
Yeah.
The Penguins won the first 2 games in Philly. They're up 2-0. We beat Buffalo in round number 1, Hasek and that, which was always difficult for the Flyers. We got by them. We're down 2-0, lose both games at home. And in that second game, I was giving it to Bugner, and he's giving it to me around center ice. It's a lopsided score. They're winning like 6-3. And Luke Richardson sees it, and he can't get there fast enough for me, right? So he takes a slap shot. Literally, we're in the neutral zone. He takes a slap shot from the top of the circles, and he hits Bob Bugner right in the chest and knocks him down. I'm laughing, like it's just like, it was so fun. I couldn't believe it. So after the game that put us down 2-0, the league is getting calls from Pittsburgh and saying, hey, that Richardson shot the puck on purpose and hit Bugner. You got to suspend him. So they go to Clarkey, and the league says, hey, Clarkey, your guy Richardson shot the puck on purpose at Bugner. He goes, hold on. Luke Richardson aimed at something and hit it?
Yeah. Come on.
I don't believe you. So Luke got to stay in the lineup. So he was in game 3 in Pittsburgh, which we won in overtime. This is when Andy Delmore came out of the clouds and played some great hockey. I did have a goal and 2 assists that game. So if
not a big deal.
We won 4-3 in overtime. I set Delhi up in overtime.
Yeah.
All everyone remembers the next night or the 2 nights later in the 5 overtime game. But I just remember going to the movies with Talkett the night before in Pittsburgh, and we rented a car because the movie theater is so far away from the hotel.
Yeah.
We went in and watched the movie. We come out, the car's running that we rented, and it's locked.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. This is back
on.
That's amazing because now you can never lock. The car wouldn't stay locked.
Right.
Unlocked.
Right.
Yeah, so we had to call a tow truck, come get it, pick us up, and we got back in time for the end of curfew. We were in time, and I just remember laughing about that. Next night, I'm thinking it's nearing the end of my career, so I'm thinking I'm going to play like 13 minutes, whatever. So I get there, and somebody got hurt in the first period for us too. So all of a sudden, here we go. And we go. And we go. And we go. I had some shifts where I would jump on the ice, step three strides one way, stop at the red line, skate to our blue line, stop, turn around and go next, and climb in the bench. And I remember Mark Recchi going, already? And I get out there, I'm done. So that was an amazing experience. So watching it and then winning that game to go up 2-0, and then I think Yager played almost 70 minutes in that game. And I remember thinking, you know what, we're going to win this series. And then we won the next 2 games, beat them 4 straight after being down 2-0, including back-to-back overtime games in Pittsburgh, the 5th overtime game as well.
That's the one, too. The game 4, you win that in overtime. Now
that's it. That changed everything.
So changed everything.
And then we get to the next series, and we're up 3-1 on the Devils, who were an amazing team and had been forever. Brodeur and Stevens and Danico and all the players they had. And just when everything was going right, it stopped.
Yeah.
So, and that's the one time I look back and had great memories from getting to that point, but not putting it away was tough, for sure.